Just finished watching the UFC on Fox, Henderson versus Melendez card, and I felt like doing a video, or a little review video. Overall, good night of fights. 8 knockouts, tied the UFC record, so can't say much to that. Good stuff. Well, let's get down to it. I'll start at the top. Benson Henderson, Gilbert Melendez. Seems to me almost every UFC or MMA card, there's always one or two really bad decisions. Now, it wasn't a robbery by any means. Every round was very close. I personally gave the fight to Gilbert Melendez. I gave Gil the first round for sure. I gave him the second round. I gave him the fourth and the fifth round. I gave Ben Henderson the third round. But every round was pretty much close except for the first round. Like I said, I'm not calling it a robbery, but this is just how the lightweight title picture is. All of these fights are super fucking close. And you can't do anything about it because that's how it is. They're just all so skilled. I think what's going to happen is we're going to get another plethora of rematches. So I'm expecting Ben Henderson, Gilbert Melendez rematch later this year. I really wanted Gil to win because I thought a fourth fight with Josh Thompson after he looked tonight made sense. So it is what it is. It wasn't a robbery. The robbery was on the prelims, and I'll get to that in a second. All right, Daniel Cormier beat Frank Mir by decision. Look, people tend to forget. I don't understand why people booed this fight. Like my boy Kaz 3000 Rob mentioned on Twitter, if Randy Couture was Daniel Cormier, they would have cheered the fuck out of that fight. No questions asked. People tend to forget, so yeah, Daniel Cormier got a few good knockouts on his resume. All of a sudden, he's supposed to be this high-level striker. No, Daniel Cormier is a wrestler. People need to remember that. Daniel Cormier is a wrestler, and Frank Mir, he had a good game plan. His conditioning definitely looked better since going to Jackson's. But the Frank Mir initiated the clinch more than Cormier did, so it's mostly Frank Mir's fault that the fight happened the way it did. Now, what's next for Cormier? I really want him to stay at heavyweight and fight Cain Velasquez because I think he would beat him. But I don't think he is. But if he does, I think if he should fight either the winners of Verdum Nogueira or the winner of Dos Santos Mark Hunt. If he goes down to light heavyweight, I really don't want him to get an immediate title shot with John Jones because who knows how his weight cut's going to go. In the past they said he had kidney issues or some medical issue trying to cut down to 205. So if something like that exists, I want him to have a test cut and another fight, maybe a number one contender fight. So if Cormier goes down to 205, I think he should fight the winner of Rashad Evans, Dan Henderson. I think that both of them match up well with him, wrestlers. As for Frank Mir, he'll be back. He'll probably maybe lose maybe the loser Dos Santos Hunt. If Verdum loses, maybe him. I doubt they'll put a third Nogueira fight together. But moving on, Josh Thompson, Nate Diaz. Wow, I've been saying it for years. Josh Thompson, when he's healthy and 100%, is an elite lightweight fighter, and he proved it tonight. Not a lot of people know who Josh Thompson is. He was around in the UFC before they got real popular and real noticed. And back then, he was considered in the UFC the #1 lightweight. And not a lot of people know him now because, he was in Strike Force. Not a lot of people watched, not a lot of the casual fans or not a lot of people watched Strike Force. Not everybody did. And he was injured a lot, so we didn't really see a lot of him the last few years. But knocking out Nate Diaz, I mean, who would have thought? Out of all the people in the world, who would have thought Josh Thompson would knock out a Diaz brother? And it was a legit knockout. Nate Diaz was done. What's next for Josh Thompson? Since Melendez didn't win, I think he should still get a number one contender fight. I think he should get the winner of Gray Maynard, TJ Grant. The winner of that fight gets the next title shot. As for Nate Diaz, he was talking about moving back up to welterweight before this fight. I don't agree with that. I don't think it's a good idea. Welterweights has too many wrestlers. He might beat the lower tier welterweights, maybe some mid tier, but he wouldn't be an elite welterweight. He needs to stay at lightweight where he's still relevant and still elite. He just needs to go be in an exciting fight, a winnable fight. Two names that come to mind are Joe Lozon and Matt Wyman. I think both those fights would be very exciting and intriguing. Matt Brown, Jordan Meehan, definitely fight of the night to me. It was just a round and a half of just violence. I mean, these two were going back and forth. I thought Meehan was done first. Then I thought Matt Brown was about to get finished. Meehan was going to get finished again. And then the second round, Brown just took control. And Matt Brown, 5-fight winning streak. Who would have thought? This guy was, a few years ago, he was 1 fight away from being cut. Now he's on a 5-fight winning streak. He's beaten some good guys. I think it's time for a step up in competition, like a pseudo contender fight. Give him a chance. Give him a challenge. And I'm talking about a really big challenge. I'm talking about Carlos Condit, maybe Josh Koscheck, Martin Kampman type challenge. Like one of those three, even though all three of those are coming off losses. The losses are to elite fighters, and Matt Brown hasn't been fighting the elite fighters yet. I think it would be a good chance to see what Matt Brown has right now. As for Jordan Meehan, he'll be back. Very exciting fighter still. Say throw him Nate Marquardt. Marquardt, I think he's past it. He's kind of in the twilight of his career. I think the drop to welterweight, aside from the Tyron Woodley fight, has not been good, and I just think those two would match up well. Let's get on prelims. Chad Mendes destroys Darren Elkins, washed him like I thought he would. Mendes called out Aldo again. I don't think he's going to get it because Aldo's fighting Pettis next. Then he's probably going to fight the winner of KZ and Ricardo Lamas next, which means Chad Mendes is going to have to fight again. UFC, please rebook the Clay Guida fight. I want to take pleasure in watching Chad Mendes beat down Clay Guida because I know it's going to happen. Please rebook that fight. As for Darren Elkins, I don't know who he's going to fight. He'll definitely get another fight, but whatever. And now we get to the real robbery of the night. Francis Carmont, Lorenz Larkin. I had it 30-27, Lorenz Larkin. Lorenz Larkin was picking him apart. He was doing his impression of Andy Hoog for 3 straight rounds. Carmont, all he did, he went for takedowns, and when he did go for takedowns, he was getting punched and elbowed in his suck that he calls a fucking mouth. And then when he did get him to the ground, I mean, he didn't do anything. Nothing. I mean, Larkin was throwing up fucking submission attempts. First he threw up the triangle, then the go-go plotter, then the Kimura, which he almost got. And, I mean, Carmont didn't land anything significant. In the first round, he landed 1 fucking strike at a 25. Total robbery. I guess it's being an advantage of GSP's buddy. They wanted to keep GSP happy and let his buddy win fights. Francis Carmont is the worst fighter in the UFC that wins. Yeah, I said it. In my opinion, he lost his last 2 fights. I thought Tom Lawler beat him, and Lorenz Larkin definitely beat him. What's next? You know what? I want to see Karma maybe fight the guy, Yoel Romero. Put that fight together, because I think Romero would fucking slaughter him. I was very impressed with Romero earlier in the card, and put it together. I think Romero handles him. As for Lorenz Larkin, I saw some people on Twitter, sure dog, calling for Lorenz Larkin versus Uriah Hall. I'm for it, even though I think Larkin will win that fight handily. But it's a good fight to put together. Miles Jury, Ramsey Nijem, nasty knockout. I didn't expect a knockout. I expected a submission, but whatever. Ramsey Nijem, not high on the guy, never was. A lot of people are, don't know why. The guy is a low-tier fighter. He'll get another fight in the UFC, but he's not anything special. As for Jury, I do see something in him. I don't think he's going to be elite, but he'll definitely be, a good mid-tier lightweight. Maybe put him in there with another lightweight that won tonight, Jorge Masvidal. Miles Jury, Jorge Masvidal. I think that would be a good fight to make. Joseph Benavidez fucking just toyed Darren Unenuyama, as I predicted. Look, ever since they started establishing the women's division into the UFC, the UFC has seemed to forgot about the flyweight division. They're not hiring guys. They're not getting new talent, new fighters. They just got like 8 guys still, and they're cutting flyweights already. What the fuck? How you gonna establish a division when you're starting to cut guys and you're not hiring prospects? Like my man Kaz 3000 said in his rankings video, there's a lot of good prospects in Brazil. That there might be a flyweight Jose Aldo down there. We don't never know. And I'm sure there's plenty of Asian talent. Hell, even here in the United States. You got Daryl Montague, you got Mamoru Yamaguchi, flyweight fighters that already have a good name. Will Campazano, ever since he went down to flyweight, he's been doing some things. I think Dustin Ortiz is another good fighter. But yeah, what's next for Benavidez? Unless it's a title shot, he's wasting his time. There's only 2 or 3 elite flyweights in the UFC right now. Demetrius Johnson, Joseph Benavidez, and maybe John Dodson, and that's questionable. But Benavidez, he should just get a title shot. Darren will get another fight against another flyweight. I don't know who. Jorge Masvidal, Tim Means, okay fight. Nothing more to say. Masvidal, Jury. Tim Means would get another fight. I don't know who against who. TJ Dillashaw. Wow, he looked good against Hugo Viana. Man, Mendez, Benavidez, and Dillashaw. They're making Uriah Faber look like the worst fighter alpha male right now. Does anybody else agree with that? Because I think Dillashaw might be able to beat Faber. I'm not sure about Dillashaw, but I know Mendez and Benavidez would beat Faber easily. What's next for Dillashaw? I think it's the time for a good step up in competition. Not like top 10, but maybe like a good gatekeeper, somebody like Takeya Mizugaki. I think that would be a good fight to make. Dillashaw versus Mizugaki. As for Viana, he'll definitely be back. He's a tough guy, and he's exciting to watch. Anthony Edgekwani, in my opinion, knockout of the night over Roger Bowling. Probably one of the best counter punches I've seen in MMA in a long time. Roger Bowling, he's just not UFC level. He's probably cut after this. Good fight, but Edgekwani, awesome counter. I think it was a left hook that got him. What's next? Maybe the winner of Rustam Kalbalov, Yancy Medeiros, most likely will be Kalbalov. Whatever. That'll be a good fight to make. And like I said, Yoel Romero, awesome flying knee knockout of Clifford Starks. Wasn't too impressed with Romero when I saw him in Strikeforce against Feijiao, but a guy who's only 4-0, and you put him in there with Feijiao, and that's at light heavyweight. He's a lot bigger than you. Not a lot of people are gonna look good. So I'm really looking forward to see what he has in the future. Like I said, put him in there with Francis Carmon because I think he would destroy him. So there's my video. Peace.